Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Lauren.
Yes.
We got some travel coming up.
We sure do.
I like those jazz hands with the travel.
Did you like
You always
that?
get that excited about the travel?
I actually do. I love traveling. I do. Years ago in New York City, I used to just like keep my passport on me all the time because I was like, you never know when somebody's going to want to whisk me away.
Is that like, as a young girl growing up in wherever you were in Florida?
No, I was.
You're like, I get to New York City, I'm just going to have my passport on me at all times because a girl just never knows.
How old were your kids when they got their first passport?
6? We went to Canada? 5 maybe? 4?
Rookie. Mine were like 1.
And where'd you go?
We didn't. I just got it just in case.
Just in case someone wants to whisk them away.
Or we got to fucking escape this house of horrors.
Tomato, tomato.
Oh, actually, they just went out of the country for the first time. So they already had actually, both of them have already had 2 passports before they ever used one. We went to Mexico for spring break, and now they are coming. We are going. We didn't say where we're going. Where are we going, Josh?
We're going to Cannes.
We're going to Cannes. We are going to Cannes Lion Festival. I have never been. You've been before. You have sent me selfies of you in linen pants there. Is this going to be your second year or third year? I can't remember.
This is going to be my second year at Cannes.
Second. I don't. There were so many linen shirt sort of pictures. I can't remember how many years it was.
I'm excited to wear the same exact outfits. So much so that no one's going to be able to determine like what year it was when they look at pictures.
There is this Amy Poehler sketch from her show a million years ago where she plays this woman who goes and gets one of those makeovers on like a TV show, and then they like go visit her a year later and to check and see how it's holding up, and she never showered and has the exact same outfit. Like her hair, she's like, it works, it still looks good, right? And I don't know why that one always stuck with me. I thought it was so funny, and I feel like that's you with the linen pants. Like you're still wearing the linen pants, basically.
I'm like Keke Palmer, you wear a dress multiple times as different things.
100%. You're like Kate Middleton. So we're going. So I am going to be in Paris with my family. So the whole mishpacha is coming, and then I'm going to go and meet you in Cannes for just like a day or two. You will be there, but we're going to do the podcast there. Everybody, they asked us to come and do it and interview some notable and important people. We'll see. There were official press at Cannes Lion. Well, tell the kids what Cannes Lion is for those that don't know.
Cannes is a city in France. Lauren, do you want to talk about the pronunciation?
It is not Cannes. For everybody trying to be pretentious, it is Cannes. And yes, go on.
And Lauren's a huge Francophile, so she would know.
Of course.
If you talk to this woman for more than 15 seconds, you know she speaks French.
What are the 2 things you'll know about me after 15 seconds? Quick, go.
Broadway, French, Jewish.
That was 3 things. You got a bonus point for the last one. Go on.
There we go.
Keep going.
So, Cannes is this beautiful city on the Mediterranean in the south of France. And they have multiple different types of festivals there. Most people might be familiar with the Cannes Film Festival.
Sure.
That happened a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it just happened.
An excuse for celebrities to go out and give each other standing ovations or walk out very disgruntled from new films that are appearing. And then there's the Cannes Lion Festival of Creativity, which for the past several decades has been honoring excellence in advertising. And it's become the premier award show for advertisers. Years ago, maybe in the 50s, 60s, if you watch Mad Men, you know this, the Clio Awards, a US-based award show for advertisers, was very prestigious. But then there was this whole drama with the Clio Awards, which is a story for another podcast. And Cannes' ascendancy kind of happened at the same time as the Clio's little bit of a downfall. And it established itself as this preeminent honor that you can get in advertising. Why is this really important? Because advertisers need a way to distinguish themselves from one another. And a really easy way to do that is to say you won some Cannes Lions and show off that you have a bunch of these different types of trophies, because it looks good if you want to court some brands that you want to do some advertising for. And it's in the south of France because 1, why not? 2, it gives everybody a really good excuse to travel. And 3, people can party on the beach, drink rosé, and get some deals done. I think it could only happen in the south of France too, because the French are like, how do we do as little work as possible? And drink rosé on the beach. But
Look at you with your very accurate, I might add, stereotypes of French people. How dare you?
But still get some stuff done.
How dare you? Yes. And obviously, creators are necessarily a huge, and platforms that have creators on them are a necessary part of sort of the festival now, because this is where most of and the brand dollars are sort of shifting. Obviously notable stats like connected TV is the biggest sort of fastest growing platform for YouTube. So this is where they have a big creator track. And is this the second year they're doing the creator track, or the third year?
Yeah, this is the second year they're doing the creator track because they, like everybody else in the world, woke up last year and figured out which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, they've had a creator sort of participation before then, but the official creator track is only a couple years old. And so as a part of that effort, they very smartly told us that they needed us to be there. And so this does unfortunately mean that we can't go to VidCon, which really sucks. Why? Because they're on the same goddamn weekend. And what's so crazy about that is they are actually now owned by both of them were both acquired by Informa, which is this bigger company that owns a bunch of events. And so one would assume moving forward, this would not happen again in terms of having these two festivals that are just effectively directly competing on the same weekend. The problem with VidCon that people don't understand, though, is and I've sat down with Jim Lauterbach, who is the former CEO of VidCon, and there's very few weekends where VidCon can happen, because you've got to make sure kids are not in summer, and it can't be July 4th. And once you whittle that down between East Coast and West Coast, there's two options in terms of weekends. So they're very much more limited than actually a Cannes would be. So we're going. So I'm excited that we'll be there, and I'm going to be speaking the most obnoxious French the entire time. Beaucoup de fromage, comme tu veux. I'm going to be making fun of Josh's pantalon the whole time. Le chemise. I mean, all the things. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. What should I expect, Josh? What do you think?
Lauren, it's a big whirlwind. There's a lot of activity going on. Like any big conference or event, there's the official programming, and then there's all the unofficial stuff that happens.
Yep.
The unofficial stuff that happens at Cannes is perhaps more recognizable and more famous. Basically, there's this crescent moon stretch of beach where individual companies rent out sections of the beach and then build these multi-million-dollar temporary structures on those separate sections of the beach that have full-fledged restaurants, stages, concerts, podcast studios, and more, so that these big companies, it used to be big publishers like Condé Nast and more. Now it's these big tech companies like Spotify, YouTube, or advertising agencies like Stagwell that have this presence on the beach to entertain all the advertisers that have spent, and they hope will continue to spend, millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of billions of dollars on their platform in the following year. And kind of like a Super Bowl ad, it's a really efficient way to target a lot of the people that you want to target, a lot of the CMOs from these big brands and organizations that are spending lots of dollars. They kind of congregate all in this one place for this week out of the year, and you can really hit a lot of top people all at once.
Right. Totally. I mean, it's very similar to a South by, in the sense where in terms of official programming and unofficial programming, and it's just it's amazing, and it's exhausting, and it's even though I'm going to be there for a day and a half, I feel like I'm going to get my fill. But I'm really, really excited about it. I can't wait to see. Josh was texting me the whole time last year, just being you gotta come next year. This is great. So, and even though there were texts, I just assumed that's what the voice he was using, because I feel like that's your linen pant voice.
I'm super stoked to be back. Tube Filter is an official media partner of the Creator Track. I wouldn't say it was inundated with creators last year, but definitely creators were a topic of conversation throughout the whole entire festival.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see a lot more this year. It's last year was the first year, the first year of anything. People are should I go? Should I not go? How was it? I think everybody who went last year had a great time. So now I expect, 2-3x the kind of quantity of people that were in our industry last year to be there this year. Also because of all the acquisitions, Publicis acquired Influential. Last year, Influential had a huge activation.
Right.
Before they were acquired. Publicis also acquired Captivate. I expect both of those entities, all three of those entities, to have a huge presence there. And then with news hits like the CEO of Unilever saying that he wants to have 50% of his marketing spend be from influencer marketing, up from 20% moving forward. It's just a moment in time where all these advertisers are getting hip to the idea that creators and these platforms are not only the future of entertainment and media, but also marketing and advertising too.
I'm really excited to like talk with folks. Like obviously, like, you know, we talk to creators and people in our industry a lot, but I'm really excited to talk to people like brands and advertisers that are thinking about this space. That's really who I want to like see if we can get some time with. So yeah, so who we're, you know, going to talk to on the podcast, TBD, still figuring that out. Everybody's figuring out the schedules, but we will announce more when we know
if you're
more.
there, email us info@creatorupload.com. We'd love to say hey.
Okay, next up, I want to just talk a little bit because it's actually pretty notable. You guys might remember we spoke about a few months ago this lawsuit. The Beige Lawsuit is kind of what people call it. Well, basically, influencer Sydney Nicole Gifford sued another influencer, Alyssa Shield, in April 2024 over an alleged copying of her online aesthetic and content. Basically, if you look at these two platforms, I guess they were like friends, and Sydney kind of helped Alyssa like with her, you know, presence on Instagram. And if you look at these two, you know, accounts, they're you know, they're both similar in the sense where they're like beige and what's the word I'm looking for? Effortlessly. What's the thing when you say when you're rich but you don't want to show it off?
Modest?
No, it's like
inconspicuous.
No, there's like a new phrase for it. It's like
quiet luxury.
Quiet luxury. So they're both basically like quiet luxury accounts, right? And so, yeah, they do, I mean, arguably look very similar, but like so does every other account that looks like this. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so the idea that one could sue another person because they also have a beige sort of Instagram aesthetic is, you know, one might argue is a little bit ridiculous. But anyway, so Gifford accused Shield of copyright infringement, trade dress misappropriation, basically mimicking her unique aesthetic, and unfair competition. And she accused her of copying her images, styling, persona, claiming that her brand identity was distinct, which is probably the most, in my non-legal opinion, laughable piece of this. Neutral palette, minimalist backdrops, relatable tone. And so that she alleged that this created consumer confusion. I mean, it's insane. So anyway, the case was dismissed. Shield called it a win for young minority entrepreneurs against intimidation. And so the reason why this is significant is because if you can all of a sudden claim that, you know, my beige aesthetic is being copied, I mean, just imagine the flood of litigation that was going to start. And like, it raised a lot of questions about kind of the limits of copyright and trade and in this sort of influencer sort of space. And anyway, the vibes did not win here. So thoughts on this?
All of that, plus the case was dismissed with prejudice, which means the same allegations can't be tried again in that court. I guess if they wanted to, they could appeal it to the appellate Circuit Court of the United States. It would be the Fifth Appellate in Texas, and then they could go to the Supreme Court. I don't think that's going to happen here because of how this went down. So, quote, plaintiffs and defendants stipulate to dismissal of this action, including all claims and potential counterclaims with prejudice, with each party to bear its own fees and costs. That's from the joint stipulation of dismissal with prejudice filed May 28th, 2025. What the big takeaway here is, like you said, this case basically declined to recognize that a style or vibe, no matter how consistent, is protectable intellectual property on its own. Gifford also argued that TikTok's algorithm heightens confusion between similar-looking creators. The court didn't buy it. There's no precedent for platform-driven content suggestions being a form of consumer deception under IP law. The case also shows that courts are reluctant to expand IP law to cover what influencers might consider their, quote, brand, unquote. From the ruling, quote, Gifford does not sufficiently allege that Shield appropriated her likeness or that Gifford can be identified from the posts at issue. So, like, if you're looking at a Shield post, you wouldn't say like, oh, that looks like a Gifford post. You'd be like, oh, that looks like any Sav beige girl post I've seen in the last decade.
Oh, beige girls.
It showed that influencer trends are public culture, not private property.
Yeah.
Copying the aesthetic is not copying the creator. And for now, vibes are still free.
Vibes are free. I mean, listen, I think there is a conversation to be had here, not about vibes, but like, you know, larger, broader, you know, copyright. Like, obviously, we're thinking about a lot of this with regarding, you know, AI and LLMs and like, you know, digesting that content. Like, that seems much more egregious. Like, if you're just going to consume and learn from hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of creator content without their consent or they're being compensated, like, even though it's out for the public to sort of you know, consume, but just having like the quiet luxury bougie beige kind of couple Instagram pictures doesn't feel like it warrants a copyright. I feel like justice prevailed here, and I'm supportive of this. I feel really good about this.
Lauren, you're all giddy and happy until some other Francophile Jewish Broadway star goes on and starts complaining about things a lot. And then you're like, whoa, wait a second. I'm going to take you to court.
But then who am I?
Exactly. Might cause a little bit of an existential crisis where
Oh my God. I
you
have
just
one
get a
every
little
day.
legal on them.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, big news coming out of Disney. Cocomelon. In Cocomelon, Disney has struck a deal that will make Disney Plus the new streaming home of Cocomelon in 2027. They will pay tens of millions of dollars annually for the rights to Cocomelon and the whole franchise. So huge. I think this is a huge validation. Disney, obviously, being like the home and the, sort of OG and the, the fact that they're blessing Cocomelon with like the Disney kind of under the Disney umbrella, I think is actually like very significant and warranted, by the way, because Cocomelon has been such a huge, massive success. And so I think this is really exciting for both the just like obviously Cocomelon in itself, but some like independent creators building something that would ultimately be purchased by Disney.
Lauren, what's interesting here is that Cocomelon was one of the first big YouTube franchises that Netflix licensed to be able to show it to subscribers on its own platform. And it's been doing so to great numbers and profit for the past several years. 2020 was when they first signed the deal. In 2024 alone, Cocomelon content brought in 231.1 million views to Netflix. That made it one of the biggest franchises of any kind in the streamer's catalog. But despite that high traffic, and Blueberry also notes this, its viewership on Netflix has gone down by about 60% from its peak. And the show has fallen out of the top 10 in some of Netflix's recent content rankings. So it was a huge hit, then wasn't as big a hit as it was before, and Disney came in and scooped it up. It's also worth noting here is that Cocomelon is the only property that's going over to Disney. Other parts of Moonbug's catalog are remaining on Netflix, such as the Cocomelon spinoff, Cocomelon Lane, and it's also going to retain access to other Moonbug properties like Blippi. But what's even more interesting here, Lauren, is this is the second announcement that Disney has had with Moonbug-related properties. The first was just the establishment of a advertising partnership with Blippi. While Blippi still is on YouTube and gets licensed by Netflix, doesn't mean that Disney can't advertise on them. So they're doing some co-branded content together that's going to live on Blippi's channel. And I think this all also stems from the fact that Bob Iger is back at the top of Disney.
Mm-hmm.
One of Bob Iger's top executives before he left Disney was Kevin Mayer. Mm-hmm. Kevin Mayer then famously went over to TikTok for a month or two, left that, started Candle Media. And then when Bob Iger came back to take over the C spot at Disney, he tapped Kevin Mayer and Candle Media as advisors. And now there's all these different types of deals coming in because Moonbug is owned by Candle Media. That's the way business works, kids. Where Disney gets some newfangled online entertainment to put on its streaming services and is establishing deeper connections with arguably some of the most successful IP that's been released on the internet.
I mean, 100%. Speaking of how you do business, I think it's we have to note that Disney's also suing YouTube right now. Why is it suing YouTube? Number one, because YouTube just poached this longtime Disney executive named John Connolly, and he's meant to now manage its relationships with major media companies and run sort of this new live sports division, burgeoning, I should say, sports division at YouTube. No big deal, right? People get poached all the time. It happens. Where the rub happens is that he had most recently been running streaming services and linear media networks at Disney and was negotiating the deal with YouTube and Disney. And they're in the middle of the negotiation. Disney is suing YouTube because they're saying Connolly, the guy that they're trying to poach, this is in the complaint that written by Disney's lawyers. Critically, Connolly leads the Disney team negotiating a license renewal with YouTube. Connolly has intimate knowledge of Disney's other distribution deals, the financial details concerning Disney's content being licensed to YouTube, and Disney's negotiation strategies, both in general and in particular with respect to YouTube. It would be extremely prejudicial to Disney for Connolly to breach the contract, which he negotiated just a few months ago, and switch teams when Disney is working on a new licensing deal with the company that is trying to poach him. So the reason they're suing him for going there is that apparently he had just signed a new 3-year deal with Disney to stay. And so he's effectively breaking that deal. And usually, as far as I understand, in the state of California, those non-competes and stuff can't really are not that, it's very favorable to the employee as opposed to the employer. So it's more about they're claiming that YouTube is basically like playing super dirty. And I don't know what the legal term is for that, but fascinating about how, in one sense, Disney's all about they're working so well with like creators and this and that, and the other way, they're trying to make a deal with YouTube, and they feel like YouTube is playing pretty dirty. So this is a very interesting turn of events.
Well, and I think what the most interesting part here is that this is even happening, that this is even a lawsuit. It shows how much growth YouTube has had over the past 20 years, and specifically the last like 5 or 6 years. And what's more is that YouTube has maintained the largest share of TV viewing among media companies for the 3rd consecutive month. YouTube has consumed 12.4% of TV viewing, according to Nielsen. Guess who's number 2?
Disney?
Walt Disney Company with 10.7.
Yeah.
This would have been unfathomable even just 5 years ago. But the fact that everybody was sleeping on YouTube, and now all of a sudden, slowly but surely, it's just like reigning over everyone.
Yeah.
People are like, nah, I want you going to work for the big dog.
Yeah, but it's more, listen, the bigger thing here is that, yes, he's leaving and they're poaching him, and he signed a contract and he's not supposed to leave and whatever, but they wouldn't care as much if he wasn't literally in the middle of negotiating a deal with the places trying to poach him. But
if the place that was trying to poach him, again, if this was 5 years ago, I don't think they would care.
No, but they would, of course.
Because
obviously.
YouTube wouldn't have had this ascendancy.
It didn't have, right.
Then.
Like, yeah, no, 100%. Okay, let's get to some uploads and downloads here. I've got an upload. Dubai wants more creators. So apparently, the United Arab Emirates-based government is starting an initiative to bring 10,000 creators to Dubai, and they're promising a lot of benefits. Is specifically giving access to this golden visa, which is a long-term residence visa, which enables foreign talents to live, work, or study in the UAE while enjoying exclusive benefits. Investors, entrepreneurs, scientists, outstanding students, and graduates, humanitarian pioneers, and frontline heroes are among those eligible for the golden visa. But guess who else is? Creators, apparently. So it's apparently like very difficult to get one of these, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. So it's part of this Creator HQ, which is the $40.8 million UAE-based government initiative to bring all these content creators to Dubai. So that's very cool. I'm sure we'll see a lot of people moving to Dubai. Josh, you want to follow that up?
Cenat, one of the top streamers in the world, just concluded his first and maybe only ever streamer university. It wrapped with over 719,000 peak concurrent viewers and 27 plus million total hours of watch time. So it was a 3-day creator boot camp with instructors. He had this whole Hogwarts themed introduction video. Supposedly over 1 million people applied. The net result was 150 up-and-coming streamers handpicked by Cenat attending in-person lectures from established pros at the University of Akron. It seemed like an amazing time, and per Twitch tracker, content related to the Stream University event was streamed across nearly 1,000 different Twitch channels from May 21st to 27th, with an average concurrent viewership of 160,000. Viewership hit peak at the event's launch and final days with 719,000 and 716,000 people respectively. So at any given time during the Streamer University's hours, 160,000 people were watching. It's just wild. Congrats to Cenat. He said there was a ton of interest from Amazon and Netflix to do something with him for this. Who knows if that'll happen in the future. He's also been visibly upset with the feedback he's gotten because of the people he chose for the event. But you can't please everybody on the internet. I hope he brings this back. It was a really cool event that can uplift the streamer ecosystem and also give some shout outs and exposure to some new up and coming streamers. I really applaud the effort. I hope to see more.
And lastly, I want to end with what I do think is a very big download. Hasan Piker, huge streamer on Twitch, got suspended from Twitch for all of 24 hours. Why did he get suspended? Because he's sort of famously been known for saying very egregious things about Israel and Jews. And this horrible event happened about a week ago in DC, where a raging, I would call anti-Semite, allegedly gunned down 2 people he believed to be Jewish outside of a Jewish museum. And he read the manifesto. And what he said was, the reason why I read this manifesto is oftentimes to understand the mindset of the person, especially when there are lots of mainstream narratives that will immediately design an alternative scenario. He said, I don't think the person acted out of anti-Semitic desire or is an effing Nazi or anything like that. But that is dangerous in a separate way. The very fact that a person who is this legible, who has their shit together enough to be able to write a fucking prose such as this one in the act of vengeance, in the acts of vigilante justice in his own mind, is meaningful in and of itself. You know who else wrote a big manifesto? Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. Writing a manifesto does not make you not a terrible, horrible person. And I don't know if, I don't know what is, if gunning down two people because they're Jewish is not anti-Semitism, I don't know what it is. And let's note the fact that they were coming out of a Jewish event to try to figure out and work on aid to Gaza. Anyway, all that being said, Twitch was upset about this and, suspended him for 24 hours. And I think that is just egregiously insufficient relative to the hate and vitriol that he is spreading on a basically 24-hour basis nonstop. And so I find this to be a disgusting display of not only him personally, but the platform that is, to use a term that I don't like to use, platforming him. And if they actually cared about the vitriol that he is spreading and the hate and the lies, then they would actually take more meaningful action. So I think this is a huge stain on our industry, platforms, and quote unquote free speech, which, what, in my opinion, he is, enacting and encouraging violence and claiming that hunting down, Jews is not anti-Semitism, is encouraging violence. So, huge thumbs down from me. And I want to just say the names of the people that were killed, because I'd rather not. I'm not going to say the name of the person who killed them. This woman, Sarah Milgram, and her boyfriend, Yaron Lashinsky. All evidence shows that they were really trying to make the world a better place, and it is beyond tragic. And I just think that we all as human beings should be doing better. And this is not what our creator economy was meant for. And so do better. Okay, Josh, I think we did it.
Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you shopping for some linen pants and can.
I already have some.
And some perfect French, I'm sure. The thought there next week on Creator Upload. Today's show is produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Evan Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen or watch. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up, info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.